The Scratchy Litepaper has finally arrived. Let's go over it. But before we go over it, let's actually take a look at the drip price. Now, as you guys can see, we've seen a pretty steady decline early on in the day-to-day prior to the announcement of the Scratchy Litepaper, of which we are going to be going over. Following that announcement of the Scratchy Litepaper, we see an instant boom in the drip price as people seem to be taking the Scratchy news as very bullish for drip and the drip ecosystem, where drip is currently sitting, at least at the time of recording, at a 8.79% increase in its price. So this is the day charts. We see this very steep green chart. If we back up to the week-long charts, you can see here there's a very steep decline over the course of the last week, which has kind of been historical for drip ever since basically all-time high, as it's just been slowly on a decline from $180 a token all the way down to its current prices. But we've seen a couple of bounces here and there throughout the charts, and of course this news has brought quite a bounce at that 8% we're seeing here on the week chart. If we back up over a month, we see that there was that other bounce that happened before, and now beginning is yet another bounce. So we're going to have to see what the future holds for the drip price. Are we going to see something similar to what we saw here, where we saw this massive rally and then just a continued steady decline again? Or are we going to see that rally continue upwards and start to build a more bullish trend? I think it's going to depend a lot on the news that we're going to get on Thursday. Now, Thursday, we're expected to get a full launch date for the animal farm ecosystem. So I'm looking forward to when exactly that date's going to be, and hopefully there won't be any further delays so that that ecosystem can get online along with Scratchy and everything else they have planned in their ecosystem, so that we can start to see some upward mobility in these prices and in these charts. Now, the way Forex announced this was in two ways. First of all, he announced it on Twitter and of course on Telegram. Now, if you guys are new to the drip ecosystem, Telegram is definitely the place you're going to want to check out most things when it comes to drip. It's usually the place that's going to have the most information, and usually the first place that you're going to get information when it becomes publicly available. Not to mention the fact that Forex typically tends to hold almost all of his AMAs in that Telegram. So I'll leave a link to that Telegram in this video description if you are not already a part of that, so you can stay up to date and informed on what is going on in the drip ecosystem. Now, what was posted here on Twitter is, I am proud to release the first iteration of these Scratchy docs. More details will be added over time. Just got out of an extremely productive meeting with Chainlink, who is the partner for Scratchy, and they were blown away by demo. And then here is a link to the actual Lightpaper. Now, the Lightpaper itself does not have a plethora of information, hence it's a light paper and not a white paper. So hopefully we'll get more information as time comes out. And of course, today's video is me just kind of running over the information. However, in the future, as more information is collected and as we get a better understanding of how this works, I will of course release tutorial videos on how you can participate in Scratchy, and of course more data on how the actual system functions and works once we learn more. Otherwise, I would just be speculating on the numbers that are not just shown here on this PDF we're about to go over. So this PDF is only about 7 pages. And again, I will leave a link to this as well in the video description. And I would highly recommend everyone have a chance to go back and read through the entire thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just read all 7 pages, as that is extremely boring and something you guys can all do in your free time. But I do plan on hitting some keynotes here in the Scratchy Litepaper so that you guys can get kind of a general idea of what you could pull from this. Now, one major thing, of course, to notice is that this is in collaboration with Chainlink, as they've announced prior. So this is a pretty big collaboration with a top 100 cryptocurrency. So what's covered in this PDF is going to be how the Scratchy NFT works, which is what we're going to primarily focus on. We'll briefly go over the earnings and the Scratchy interface. We'll show examples of that and what that looks like. And then of course the branding and promotional opportunities that comes with their white label products, which I will of course go over briefly as well. So like I said, you guys can go ahead and read through this in detail and make sure you really absorb it. It's not a lot of information here, but essentially there is 2 prices you can buy with your Scratchy NFT. You can buy a Scratchy NFT for 0.1 BNB or 0.3 BNB. Now, my curiosity with this is going to be, as BNB goes up in value when we hit another bull cycle, I wonder if these prices will change over time, as 0.1 and 0.3 BNB is a manageable price now. But my question becomes, when BNB does rise and potentially hit all-time highs again, this price for a Scratchy might get a little bit out of reach for some users, and that price might change. So we'll have to kind of sit back and see if that does change over time, or if they're going to stay true to these prices indefinitely. Now, here's a little bit of a breakdown of where that BNB actually goes when you purchase. Usually I would do a little chart to show you guys, but for the sake of time and getting this video out in a reasonable time, I did not take the time to edit that in. However, it is showing that half, 50%, is used for prizes. It's the actual prizes that you win by buying these Scratchy NFTs. 15% will go to the platform or the Oracle costs. And then the other 15% is going to go to the actual client or person hosting the actual Scratchy, of which we'll go over a little bit later. 10% is used for the jackpot treasury, which increases jackpot with each bash. So there's going to be one mega jackpot that's going to continue to increase and grow and grow and grow over time until someone hits the actual jackpot. And 10% goes to a staking contract for Scratch Revenues Sharing Module. So there's basically two options. You can do the winning Scratch NFTs. When a prize is claimed, the NFT ticket is burned, you lose that ticket. And alternatively, players can stake their Scratchy NFT in the revenue sharing pools when you will earn a share of all BNB used to buy tickets across all platforms hosting the Scratchy model. Once a ticket is staked, you can no longer claim its associated price. So if you go ahead and play with the Scratchy NFT and you win a prize, then that NFT is gone and you claim said prize. Now for non-winning tickets, that's not the end of the road. You're not just out of luck like you would be with most scratchers in any type of lottery system. Instead, the majority of the revenue sharing staking pool is actually going to be going to those individuals who did not win upon scratching their scratcher. So the other option is for non-winning tickets. So you can forego receiving a lower tier prize in exchange for partial ownership, just like with the animal farm in the pig pen. You're going to get partial ownership, or rather revenue sharing, from all of the funds that come from the staking contract within this Scratchy's revenue sharing module. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing. Like I said, in the future, I'll do videos with visual looks so you can kind of see it all working once we get a full launch, and I can show this in maybe a little bit more of a clear way. For the time being, feel free to come back and reread through this so you can get a more comprehensive understanding of what they're talking about within the system. Basically, if you win, you can win a small prize, you lose the NFT. Otherwise, you could take those NFTs and they basically work to stake to earn, just like Reflections or any other staking model. And of course, those funds come from the purchases of the tickets themselves, just like the jackpot is comprised of money from the tickets and of course the other prizes that are involved with the regular scratching. Now, so why would you actually buy a ticket for 0.1 BNB or 0.3 when in reality you could get 3 tickets for the price of 1, so why pay the higher amount? Well, this all comes down to the NFT multiplier that they built in the system. Here it says the price you pay for a Scratchy NFT ticket will determine the multiplier. This impacts your earnings as a share of the dividend pool. Higher priced Scratchy NFT tickets have a higher multiplier. So basically, by you buying a more expensive ticket, the 0.3 BNB rather than the 0.1, you're going to get a higher multiplier on rewards. And of course, if you decide to go ahead and stake your Scratchy NFT ticket. So some people might favor the more expensive upfront cost for better returns, or some people might just want to get in for a chance to win at these lower prices. Now, another thing to notice is that there's instantly going to be, right at the beginning, an NFT time decay. Just like a lot of node projects that eventually have decay where you earn less and less rewards over time, these NFTs are going to do the same thing, because over time, there's going to be a lot more Scratchy NFT tickets piling up in the revenue sharing pool, which would make it to the point where it's not even really worth staking because of how many people are all going to be pulling in and taking out of that pool. So it makes sense. They've got a model set in place where basically it's only for an allotted amount of time. And I would imagine that would decrease over time to the point where you no longer earn any rewards for having staked your Scratchy NFT tickets. So you'll have to pay attention to what exactly that time period is, as they don't announce it specifically here. And that's why it's important to read the full white paper or wait to the full launch, where I can go into more detail about the math behind this on which one will be better for you. Maybe you do want to do the 0.1 BNB, or you do want to do the 0.3. We can do the math on that to see which would be more beneficial. And of course, look at the length of time you will actually earn from staking your NFT. So of course, I'll do a video that goes over all the math to figure out some of the best strategies and explain to you exactly how everything works in the timeframes that they announce once we go to a full launch. Now here we can see a Scratchy's example for the dog token. So as you guys can see here, this looks pretty much like any type of scratcher you would get at a gas station or anywhere else that you typically play the lottery. And so you can see here what the purchase page is going to look like over here. You can see your tick page hosting your multiple tickets that you purchased over time. And of course, this is what a winning ticket would look like. And then here is the scratch ticket. It looks exactly like a scratcher. As I mentioned, this is displaying the dogs token. From what I understand, there will also be a Scratchy for Drip, probably pig token, and all the other tokens and projects that are associated within the Forex Shark ecosystem. Now, not only will these tickets work for everything in the Forex ecosystem with Drip and everything in the Animal Farm, and of course his prior projects with Reap token, but on top of that, Scratchy is going to be offered as a white label product for other cryptocurrencies, from what I understand, on the Binance Smart Chain. So other projects can host Scratchies for their projects as well, and up to 15% of the ticket sales fees on your platform are used to buy back the native assets, helping that native project. Now, on top of that, it doesn't have to be just for projects, but other influencers or people that have their own websites or hosting services can also utilize Scratchy in order to generate BNB funds. So there's an opportunity for those without a native asset and for those with a native asset like another project. So if you are a project developer or a major content creator, this page may be something of interest for you on how you can utilize Scratchies for your own cryptocurrency project. So that pretty much covers everything that was in the actual Lightpaper. Like I said before, there's not quite a lot of information, but it does give us a better idea of how they will look and how they will actually work and function. The specific numbers and the specific returns on the different investment pools and the chances of winning and all that other information, I'm sure we'll learn closer to the actual launch or potentially after launch once we see it all in practice. Now, once we do get that other information in, and it is something that you guys would like to see, I would love to do a video on that so you guys can make a more educated decision on if this is something that you would like to participate in and learn more about. Personally, it's exciting to see things actually working in the Drip ecosystem after such a long stagnant period of development. So now that Forex and his team has gone through a massive development phase, we're hoping to see an execution phase here over the next several weeks and months as everything starts to actually come out that they've been working so hard on since basically the first quarter of this year. And hopefully holders will be rewarded for those actions as that brings in new utility and new holders and excitement into the ecosystem itself. Of course, I will do my best to keep you guys updated. So if there's any aspect of the ecosystem you would like me to focus more on, whether it's the Drip Faucet and the new utilities that are coming to the Drip Faucet or the other parts of the Animal Farm, let me know down below. Of course, if you've come this far in the video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified when I produce new content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks.